Hey, welcome, folks. Thanks for tuning in this fine April day. Hey, solar eclipse day. Be careful. Don't look at the sun unless you got those protective glasses or something on. But it's going to be interesting. I'm just going to watch it on TV, to tell you the truth. There's been a couple solar eclipses I've been through here. One back in the late 70s, if I remember right, and then there was another one in 2014. Neither of them were total. This one won't be either, but it's cool. It's a great experience. Just be careful, okay? But hey, thanks for tuning in today. Appreciate it. Now, I have got a very important guest today. This is Child Abuse Awareness Month. April is. And this is an issue that is very close to my heart, something that I've been an advocate for most of my professional life. But I've got a good guest today. I want you to meet this gentleman. Listen to what we say. It's going to be good stuff. But hey, street talk and other stuff. You stick around. We will be right back.
When your heating or cooling system is giving you trouble, call the diagnostic doctor from Dick's Heating and Air Conditioning.
Here's the culprit right here.
All joking aside, when you call Dick's, you're calling 35 years of experience at customer service right here in the Wenatchee Valley. Dick's strongly believes in repairing before replacing, and they service all major brands of HVAC units.
I moved here 6 years ago. The manager here asked me what I like to do, and I told him that I like to play games, I like to play cards. And he said, "Boy, have I got a woman for you to meet." And he introduced me to her, and we walked down the hall, and I took her hand, and we've never let go of each other.
Life is so good when you're happy, and I'm very happy at Prestige.
So you may have heard the latest trend, shrinkflation. Companies are making products smaller and decreasing the quality of their ingredients. Well, at Abby's, we're going the opposite direction. We're sticking with the same plan that's worked since 1964. For a real value, head to Abby's. This is Skinny, and he helped found Abby's 60 years ago. In honor of Skinny, we're putting his favorite pizza on sale. Savory pizza sauce, Canadian bacon piled to the edge, and juicy tomatoes make this a very special pizza. Order your Skinny special right now at abbys.com.
Hey, it's me, Blippi. Blippi's back on stage with his brand new Wonderful World Tour.
Are you ready? I'm an excavator.
Sing, dance, and make new discoveries. In Blippi, the Wonderful World Tour with special guest Mika.
My name is Mika. Yeah, it's nice to meet ya.
For tickets and more, visit BlippiOnTour.com. Blippi, the Wonderful World Tour.
Okay, we're back. Street talk and other stuff, and I want to introduce to you my old working companion, a person I consider a friend, Detective Steve Evitt from the Wenatchee Police Department. Steve, thanks for coming on.
You bet. Thanks for having me.
Good to have you. Now,
too.
like I said, this is Child Abuse Prevention or Awareness Month, and I wanted Steve to come on, and he's going to tell you about why I asked him, but just a little bit about yourself, okay?
Okay.
Fill us in. Family, background, history,
You got it.
personal details.
Personal details.
It's just you and me, so it's okay.
Yes, a lot of personal details, just you and me. Okay, got it. Thanks, Mike. So, my name is Steve Evitt, and I am the Person Crimes Detective for Wenatchee Police Department. I have been with the Wenatchee Police Department 23 plus years. Okay. I currently, my person crimes position, my job is to investigate whenever a patrol goes out and picks up a report that needs a little bit of follow-up. Then I do that follow-up when it deals with child abuse, child sexual abuse, or sexual assaults having to do with adults. Been doing that for 10 years now.
Okay, well,
actually,
good for you.
just came up on that. Just came up on that anniversary.
Admire your stamina.
Thank
buddy,
you.
and
Yeah.
your dedication to it.
And I love my job. I absolutely love my job. When I became a police officer back in 2000, One of the people that got me connected was Doug Jones. You remember Doug?
Yeah.
He and I used to go to church together, and he said, you know, this is the best job. You can help people. Which, after I got into the person crimes position, I believe that.
Okay.
But
he said that about police work in general?
In general, yeah. And yes, you do help people,
Oh, yeah.
but it's on a very limited basis when it comes to patrol and maybe some other things. But when you get into a specialty like even the drug task force or on the SWAT team, maybe not the SWAT team, but person crimes, you really are helping people on an individual level.
Yeah.
And that's what I really appreciate about my job, about police work in general. I'm married to a beautiful woman, Amy, and we have been married 26 years next
my man.
month.
Cool.
Yeah, we had a really great vacation last year to Europe. It was for our 25th. It was awesome.
Cool.
We have 3 kids. One, our oldest, is here, married to a local family, and she works in the school district. They have 2 kids. We have 2 grandkids from them. They're a lot of fun. We have our other daughter is in Spokane with her husband and their daughter, and then our son just got married last September here in Wenatchee. Actually, it was amazing. It was over there at Highlander. Out looking over the gorge. It was amazing. Yeah. I was surprised too. I mean, they live in D.C., right? And it's like, you want to have your wedding? Oh, great. Let's do it.
But he works in D.C.?
And he works in D.C.
He do?
He works for the State Department.
Okay.
In a task force that develops policy for sex trafficking, actually.
Yeah. Very important work.
Yeah, very important work.
Good.
He enjoys that too. So he and his wife Olivia, we visit as much as possible. We had a really, really great vacation last December in Costa Rica. We spent Christmas over there. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, we love our family.
I thought about
it's a great family.
going there. Me and my Jersey buddies do these trips once in a while, and Costa Rica's come up on our radar a couple of times.
Oh yeah, no, for sure you should go.
So
absolutely go. It's a lot of fun.
Okay. So police work, specifically the job you have now. Tell us how you moved into that, what you're doing.
So, person crimes, again, as I mentioned, is the patrol officer goes, someone calls, says, hey, I believe this adult was abused or sexually assaulted. Patrol takes that call, and then they write up a supplementary, a short report. They send it to the detective's office. If it has anything to do with abuse or sexual assaults, then it comes to me, and then I do all of the follow-up. And depending upon, many times, I'd say more commonly, the disclosures about any type of abuse, to include sexual abuse, are delayed. Like, people have a hard time when they know something has happened to them, children and adults, to talk about it right away. And so then after I get the report, then I go and interview. Initially is always interviewing the victim or victims, and then after that, depending upon what they say, potentially more interviewing. Sometimes there's physical evidence if it happened in the short term, within 24 hours or less, maybe 48 hours or less, then sometimes there's physical evidence. More and more, we are getting electronic evidence, as you can imagine. Both text messages, social media, stuff like that. So more or less my job is a follow-up. And after, in these 10 years... Oh, you're going to disagree with me?
Yeah,
okay.
I kind of do, because
Bring it.
It's, a follow-up to what the initial report is, but you're the one who's doing, the work that is going to take this case to, what I always used to say, I would write a report for the defense attorney, because I want him to read that report, look to his client and say, you better plead.
Yes.
So, I hear what you're saying, Steve.
I get what you're saying.
We have a semantic issue.
Yeah, we're semanticing, sure. Right. That's fine.
Thanks for tolerating me.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, anytime. So yes, I do. I normally collect the bulk of the information as far as what could be charged. Using several different techniques, and one of those being one of the ones that I have appreciated the most is getting the training in and then using the child forensic interview training, where it's just a very non-suggestive way of talking to kids, getting information about their memories, not trying to force or be too direct in questioning.
Just to kind of clear that up, I mean, we don't want to ask leading questions, and some people say, "Does that mean?" You know, I don't look at you and say, you know, "Did Uncle Joe bop you on the head?"
Yes, correct.
Did something happen?
So tell me what happened.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's basically it. It's tell me what happened, and then you know, they tell you something. Oh, you said that. Tell me more about that. And it's just trying to get that information from whatever comes out of the child's mouth, and then following up to develop a whole understanding of what happened.
Yeah, and you've said there is specific training you have to do forensic interviews with children. Could you give us a little bit of background on that?
So where it came from, the training itself?
Sure. You know, whatever you feel is pertinent to say, because I want people to know that this isn't just something that we don't stick you in there and say, do this.
Right.
You know?
Right. Yeah, so years ago, there were some, that same, you know, did Uncle Joe bop you on the head? That was a common way for police officers to ask questions, very direct questioning, and it was discovered over time that was a very ineffective way at getting actual memories.
Right.
And it could be suggestive, and kids are very suggestive. We all know that to be true. And so what the training does is it gives you a foundation for how we remember things, and then getting to drawing that information out of children, and it works for adults just as well.
Sure.
But and then there's the training itself has a practice, a day or two of just where they bring in actors and you ask the questions based on the scenario, and then
and you're observed by instructors.
And you're observed by instructors. Yeah, it's a 5-day course.
Wow,
great,
excellent.
5-day course, and then from there, and it starts off with what are called instructions, questions that you ask kids, just to make sure that they will understand when you ask them narrative questions about what happened, that they're going to understand that they, if they don't understand something, they can say, I don't get that, or can you use a different word? There's a lot of that preparatory stuff as well with children, just so that you're being as non-suggestive, trying to get to their memories as much as possible.
Because the truth, you want the truth.
Yeah.
Okay, if nothing happened, you want to hear that.
Right.
And if a person is being, you know, I remember a couple of cases that came that the person was being falsely accused. It just, you know, and none of us want an innocent person to get into trouble.
Right.
So.
Right. Yeah. That's always the difficult thing when it comes to most child abuse, child sexual abuse, even sexual assaults with adults. Those things aren't done out in the open.
Right. Well,
So
I always called it good touching, bad touching, and secret touching.
Yeah.
So, because it happens, sexual activity happens in secret. Doesn't matter whether it's legitimate or not.
Right. So. Right. So you have to get a way to draw out a child's memories from, you know, in a way that is non-suggestive, so that you can say, okay, this looks more likely than not that something did happen, as opposed to, you know, most commonly when children are not being truthful, it's because they've been prepped by an adult.
Right.
So
that's
more common than not.
I've had that a couple of times.
Right. Yeah. So yeah.
Well, cool, but you enjoy the work.
Yeah, I know. I love my job. I think it's a great job.
What is it that particularly inspired you to get into this field? Because a lot of people look at people who do child abuse, investigate what is wrong with you?
Yes, no, you know, and that's funny because there is definitely something wrong with me.
See, he admits it.
It's out there. It's known. I don't hesitate. Yeah. So when I was 2013, I put in for the fraud detective position initially, and because of the number of and as you remember, whenever somebody goes into detective work at Wenatchee PD, you're there for 3 to 4 years, rotate in, rotate out, go back to some other specialty, right?
When I was there, it was a 2-year job.
Oh, was it 2 years?
That was steady. That's just under Chief Batchley.
Oh, okay. So by the time I got there, it was 3 to 4 years.
Right.
3 years, and you could ask for a 4th year. The ask for a 4th year was a development over time. But regardless, it was short term, you know, rotate in, rotate out. And when I put in for the 2012 or early 2013, I put in for the fraud, and it wasn't filled because we were low on numbers, and they needed me to stay on patrol for a while. And then in 2014, about March, now Captain Chance was leaving the person crimes position to go back to patrol and be promoted, and they needed somebody to fill in the person crimes because that would have left 2 in my department, and instead they said, hey, do you want to go into person crimes? And I was like, are you kidding me? I had absolutely no idea. I mean, person
when
crimes.
you say, are you kidding me? It's
Yeah.
like, no, what?
That's
No,
like,
of course not.
No, that's a scary business because fraud is numbers, right? Fraud is just, here's an account, here's a check that's being written on stolen check. I mean, that's concrete. And
when I was
person crimes isn't concrete.
Yeah, we called it the check position. He said there's evidence in every case.
There is.
We have the check.
Yep. And with person crimes, your evidence is what people tell you.
Right.
It's much less rare when you have physical evidence in any type of child abuse, sexual abuse, or sexual assault.
Now, the statistic years ago used to be that only in about 25% of cases of actual child sexual abuse was there any potential physical evidence. Is that statistic still about the same?
Still about the same, yeah. It's especially with children, unless there is a significant amount of force,
right.
The physical evidence just is not likely going to be there, or if something doesn't get reported within 48 to 96 hours, physical evidence is going to be lost. Which is not uncommon. Except now you can say physical evidence is electronic evidence.
Yeah.
I mean, that's much more common to have, people, even with their children, now have social media, text messaging. It's now a little bit more common to have some sort of communication, sorry, even if it's not detailed specifically, sorry that I did this, this, and this.
Sure. But
you're still going to have some of that digigital communication.
Now, before we take a break, just one last question. How difficult is it to get that electronic evidence? I mean, do you have to write search warrants for people's phones?
It is becoming increasingly more difficult because companies, so things don't stay on your phone. You have a cloud, right? Yeah. Storage for your phone?
Right.
Yeah.
I believe so.
Yes. You have a backup for you.
I think I do.
When you buy a phone, what does a new phone, what do you do? Your backup goes on, that's your cloud.
Okay.
Am I giving you instruction here?
Probably.
So that most electronic evidence today is in the cloud or on somebody else's server, whether that's the social media server or whatnot. There's less and less stuff on a person's actual device. So yes, it's much more difficult now, and it's increasingly more difficult because those companies are making things stronger and stronger from a security standpoint.
Sure.
And we, law enforcement in particular, are having a hard time at the local level keeping up with the technology to be able to get into the device itself. So it really is, it's difficult, but it's easier to go through the internet service provider or the app or whatever the case may be. So.
Okay, we're talking with Detective Steve Evitt, who, Wenatchee Police Department for the last 10 years, he's been what I used to call the crimes against persons detective. He handles all sexual assaults, child abuse. Very challenging job. But we're going to come back. We're going to take a quick break, talk more to Steve in a minute. But hey, stick around. Street Talk and other stuff. We will be right back. So.
Hey, welcome back to Save Mart. What can we help you find today?
We're looking for a mattress.
Oh, right this way. We got a large selection. We have this pillow top here.
Oh, comfortable.
We have more to choose from down here.
Oh.
I think I have the perfect one over here for you.
I guess we'll take this one.
You'll find it at Save Mart. Full service at a low, low price.
Welcome to the Columbia Basin Dispute Resolution Center. We are a local nonprofit serving Grant and Adams counties, helping businesses and people resolve difficult issues so they can move toward a better future. We offer help with workplace disputes, residential issues, family matters, and can train your staff in conflict prevention and resolution skills. Call us at 509-237-8401 to learn more.
A break from reality. Central Washington Water has a showroom full of possibilities. They have the perfect hot tub for any space and any budget, including saltwater hot tubs for the absolute best ownership experience. Find free-flow plug-and-play spas that make it simple and affordable to get you soaking. Tropatone furniture to complete your patio. Make summer a splash with a high-quality, easy-to-set-up above-ground pool with pumps and filters from Central Washington Water, your water experts.
Yo escogí Pinnacles porque aquí en la escuela es muy tranquilo porque hay pocos estudiantes y muchas oportunidades para ellos. Es una escuela pequeña y tranquila. Me gusta venir a la escuela cada día porque hacen que la escuela sea divertida.
Escogí la escuela Pinnacles porque es una gran escuela para la comunidad y también una gran experiencia para mi hijo.
Okay, we're back talking with Detective Steve Evitt, the Wenatchee Police Department. It's a crimes against persons detective, handles all child abuse, sexual assaults, that type of thing. Okay, so April is Child Abuse Awareness Month.
Right.
Why is this such an important issue for people to be aware of?
So similar to, like, if you think of a pink ribbon, what do you think of?
Well, breast cancer.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's that same type of awareness. Whenever you see that, you remember your loved one. Again, talking about breast cancer, all of those things, the things that you remember. And we want people to remember, if not more than, but at least once a month. And the blue ribbon, which I have here, is symptomatic of Child Abuse Awareness Month, just so that, like, you would donate to, or if you had any specific charities that you wanted to go volunteer for, those types of things, or be a part of things at schools, at your churches. Sure. It's just, the blue ribbon, and it's child awareness. What can I do? And really, that's what it boils down to: is what can I do as an individual to help my community have our community be as safe as it possibly can for our children. And so that's the importance of the awareness. Is it's not just simply once a month we're going to remember, but at this point, we can't say it's Child Abuse Awareness Year, right? Because then that would become,
we could if we wanted to.
We could, but then it'd be sort of like you would forget. It's like those jingles, the insurance jingles. It's like you hear that again, right?
Right.
So we don't want to go that far, but we do want to have that memory, and because it is springtime. And it is it's that point. It's at least in Wenatchee for sure the point where we do so many things with our children, and so we want people just to remember that there are ways that they can help to keep children safe.
People do need to be aware. I mean, back long before I was a police officer, I volunteered for a group. I couldn't remember what it was called, but we did child abuse awareness. We went into schools. We did presentations, but one of the groups, one of the gals in there, said she was talking to her father-in-law about it, and he said, well, I like to think that doesn't happen very often.
Huh.
Does it happen very often?
It happens a little bit. So from a statistical standpoint, it happens about reported 600,000 children are abused per year. And out of those 600,000, about 2,000 of them die from whatever that abuse situation, whether it's physical abuse, maltreatment, or any different types of things like that. So it is a prevalent issue. It's no less important than DUI emphasis patrols and all of those things. We need to be aware so that we can do our part to help keep our community's children safe.
Yeah, there was a time when the traditional wisdom was 1 in 4 girls would be sexually assaulted to some degree by the time she graduated high school, and 1 in 10 boys. And all experts agreed those statistics were off. There was a guy named Dan Allender, a psychologist who wrote a book specifically on this. I can't remember the name of it, but he said he figured, I think it was 35% of women. But before I was a police officer, I would talk with women about this issue specifically. I mean, it was normal conversation for me. And probably 80 to 90% of adult women said to me, that happened to me.
Yeah.
And most of them said, I never told anyone.
That's
And
going to
just
be mostly
about
true.
all of them said, I know who did it.
Yeah.
You know, and that's part of the dynamic I think is important for people to know. This is a crime that happens not by strangers, but within relationships.
Yes, yes, and that statistic still remains true. The children are abused, whether it's physical abuse, maltreatment, or sexual abuse. Children are abused by people they know.
Right.
The stranger danger just is irrelevant. We were taught that back how many years ago? It's just irrelevant, and the statistics continue to show that immediate family members, probably a quarter or so, are involved in that, in abusing children. About another quarter are the ancillary grandparents, uncles, aunts, etc. And then known people, church members, coaches, extracurricular activities. You know, that's another. I mean, these are all known people.
Right.
It's not the stranger just isn't abusing
The stranger
children.
danger is negligible. I mean, not to say it doesn't happen.
Oh, it happens, sure.
You know.
Yeah, no, I mean 10 years. 10 years I've been doing this, and there's I can think of a handful of cases that are strangers.
Well, I remember we had we were doing, sort of a conference here, and there were about 75 local people, both attorneys, social workers, that kind of stuff. And I said, how many people here over the past 75 years can remember a case where a child was abducted or abused by a stranger? And one attorney raised this kind of hesitantly, but then I said, and I'm not going to ask you to be personal, but who here is aware of something like that happening within a personal family or extended family relationship? 2/3 of the hands went up. And that's a horrific statistic. That's horrific to think that.
Right.
But it is the reality,
Right.
and we have to address the reality.
Right, and that's another example of that is when I. After an investigation, someone gets charged, we go to trial. During trial and the jury selection part, that's if it's a sexual assault case, the jury is asked, how many of you have, and at least 50% know somebody that has been sexually assaulted or abused by. So it's very prevalent.
Okay, so be aware.
Be aware,
It's
please.
going to. But I want to say, I know how difficult this job can be. I thank you for doing it. You have a great reputation. I know that people at Sage think very highly of you, and I want to say thanks, Steve.
Thank you.
So appreciate it.
Yep. I appreciate, thank you, and I appreciate being able to do this in our community. This is an important work, and I love what I do, and I love being able to help people in one point in their life that's very hard.
Sure.
But I do appreciate having this opportunity.
Okay. Okay, we're going to come back, say goodbye to Steve, but we're going to take a break. Street Talk and other stuff. If you stick around, we will be right back.
Hey, hon, would you run this around to the wash rack?
Oh, okay.
Hey, hon, what happened?
They shrunk the truck.
The all-new mid-size Canyon is now available at Sangster Motors.
Check out ClubCrowCashmere.com for upcoming events and tickets.
Okay, we're back. And again, I want to say, Detective Evitt, thank you very much for being here.
Thank you, Mike.
Okay, but
Appreciate
hey, Child Abuse Awareness. Thanks for tuning in. We will see you next week. Have a great day. Be careful of the eclipse. Bye-bye.
Stars in sports. We'll hear from 5-star wide receivers in both Texas and Florida, then introduce you to quarterbacks in Georgia and Utah. We'll also make a stop in California for a volleyball player, and Oakland University basketball coach Greg Campy will chat with us in our journey to greatness. That's all coming up next on Sports Stars of Tomorrow. Welcome to Sports Stars of Tomorrow. I'm your host, Charles Davis. We're going to start today's show in the Dallas area with one of the highest rated players in Texas. And that's this week's 5-star feature. When you think about 5-star receivers,